This
It could have been a
okay.
creeper place.
Hold on. It is just a bar. Hold on.
I guess, but it's not very clean. I guess you're more used to Zephyr than I am, though, Magpie.
It is cleaner than a lot of places.
Yeah, no bars that. Dumps do exist.
Greedy!
Actual ones.
Hello. Hi.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's fine. Yeah, I'm used to it. It comes with the height.
You made it through the door.
I did.
Door?
Alright, so, bar's pretty much closed for the evening, so we'll have it for ourselves for a little bit. If y'all wanted to, there's a larger couch in the back, and we can, talk some things that happened recently.
Wherever you two
I'd offer a stool, but I think only 2 of 3 parties could sit in one.
Mm-hmm. That's fine. I can stand. I'm relatively used to it.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a mechanical riding bull. It's a little odd. Saw someone get thrown off it while they were absolutely just completely wasted. But if it keeps customers happy.
I guess.
Yeah, I just thought that this couch would be the only one big enough for all of us. So.
Alright. Let me just.
I mean, if you wanted to stand, you could.
I might just stand for a bit until my legs get tired. Well,
Okay.
I'll be up a little late.
So, Magpie, before we begin, are you comfortable with her knowing about what happened last Sunday?
She is my mom.
Well, still, you know, you're your own person. There's gonna need to be a little bit of it I need to talk about, but if you want the full details.
I think it is fine.
Alright. So, effectively, as I'm sure you're aware, Magpie works at the meat rack. Sunday we had a test of security and other staff to handle adversarial situations, and a part of this test, as far as I know, without anyone's real knowledge of it, was certain individuals were made privy to Magpie's issue.
Which
With
issue?
Commands, specifically.
I see.
Now, before anything, I don't think most of staff was briefed on this, and I certainly do not believe any were okay with it, outside of a very choice few. But because of that, and because of the potential for that being exploited again, and Magpie being put in that situation again, I wanted to go over with you about if you know how this comes about, and if there's any sort of quirks as to how it works, if that makes sense. The commands, how that misfunctions, Mal? I don't know.
Well, my understanding, though it's been a little bit since I've looked at Magpie's code, that it's simply built into her. If she receives a command, that she must then do it. Not entirely sure. What else I could enlighten upon unless you specify?
Well, I was curious about the nature of how these commands go about. Are they strictly auditory, or are they also visual? Can commands be given in other languages that she doesn't know and it's still processed as a command?
If she can understand it, it works.
If she can understand it, then it works.
Okay, so
So
both
if it's written
audio...
in a language that she knows, then it'll work. If it's in a language she doesn't know or doesn't understand or uses words she doesn't understand, then it will not be interpreted as such.
Okay. So that at least makes things a little bit more complex, because I thought it was purely auditory. And as far as you know, any sort of programming, even if I wanted to alter it, first of all, I need her consent, of course. And secondly,
Of course.
it wouldn't work, so to speak. As far as you're aware, it's just built in.
Magpie's code is what I would lovingly call a stack of cards. It is very dangerous to try to mess around or poke at the pieces already there. It's balanced oddly. I don't even really know how she works. I was lucky in that I was able to give her sense of taste on top of everything else, but I think that was more because it was a bit
I didn't know you
on
could
top
taste
instead
it.
of trying to. Yeah.
So to say, if you want, we can try some of the dumplings once we're done with this. But either way,
I'm playing.
I was actually curious. Going with the stack of cards analogy. So the reason I was curious about how she processes these commands in Magpie, if you have any memory of being issued commands, maybe you can inform me of this as well. I'm trying to, as far as I understand, programming works off of like a logic, and when there's something that happens, it causes something else to happen. It's a reaction, basically, right? Am I correct
I
in
would say
that?
that's how all of life is. Things happen, and then other things happen in reaction there. But yes, usually programming, it's sort of chains of events, if you will, and computers and AI can be taught to react to these chains of commands and such, or told what to do. If you think of how most programmers will, their first foray will be making something print out "Hello World." Takes understanding like what the text is and stuff, being able to interpret the information, and then being able to come to some form of conclusion, sort of like a math problem, like before and after. Does that make any sense, or am I?
No, but that just yes, but it. So again, operating off of the conclusion that this code is not really something that we can afford to alter without any sort of risk. My thought process is, how exactly do we... I'm sorry if it seems like I'm stumbling around in the dark. I am a farmer and a gun repairman. I I do not know much of programming. I just want to help a friend.
You're fine. The garage and the meat rack also doesn't know what a level is, so I'm used to a certain level of, I don't want to say incompetency. I think incompetency is
I will accept
or just
incompetence
lack
in this
of-
regard.
No. Lack of expertise on certain matters that I would feel is obvious, but that's because this is my job. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yes. So again, the fundamentals of a program is that it is input, processing, conclusion. Correct?
Yes. Usually, especially for AI and such, input of physical information and such, they have sensors and stuff to pick up. If you think of a basic, like, Arduino board, which are like those little blue kind of hard drive, very small CPU things that, like, kids can play with. You can give them sensors that detect light or sound and stuff like that, and then say, hey, if you detect a sound decibel above this level, do this. There's a level of the physical world somehow being interacting upon a sensor. The sensor detects that in some way, and usually the programmer will then take it to whatever it needs to do, whatever it's been programmed to do. So it's interesting with thinking creatures because it's not necessarily like if I scream too loudly that Magpie will instantly do something and do it every time because synthetics can learn and such. It might surprise her the first time, but I imagine after the third time she's not going to scream. It's memory.
I'm probably just going to be very irritated.
Probably. Which is why I won't do it. Because memory doesn't learn complicates things. Thinking complicates things. Choosing and deciding what to do when presented with stimulus.
Maybe that's it. Given basically this analogy, is there a way that you know of to artificially block stimuli without influencing code?
Perhaps if it's like I guess if it's like before it could hit the thinking part, maybe. It's nothing I've ever really messed with before, though. I have heard that some people, cybernetics and such, like doing things like censoring out blood before they can ever see it, so it like makes it all glitchy, pixely, so you don't actually have to watch it. But I haven't personally heard of it being done in a synthetic.
Well, the reason I ask is because I have a friend by the name of Near, and he stated that due to the load of the cybernetics on his system, he was given additional processing power to his brain to be able to, I guess, handle what his body is telling him. I think he said he was over 90% cybernetic. Some parts of it, I think, even including his brain. Yeah, it's best not entirely to get into how he got into that scenario. But, regardless, that's where he is. Has it ever been attempted to maybe create something to detect what might be interpreted as a command?
Perhaps, but one concern I can think of right off the bat, just off the top of the dome, if you will. Your friend Near, it sounds like he's just trying to handle a load of stress that's already there, if that makes sense. He's not trying to block it before it comes in. He's trying to, I guess, strengthen himself while it comes in. If you put in a barrier before Magpie can perceive it, I would worry that because of this sort of censorship, it's like how radio stations, you know how they'll sometimes accidentally curse, but they'll manage to bleep it out before it actually goes on the air?
Okay.
Because they have a buffer and delay. And I think the way to do it, if you're doing something like that, it would be to cause a buffer or delay so that whatever thing you've put in can censor it and detect it. However, that would, I imagine, slow down how Magpie perceives time. A bullet would shoot at her, and maybe she'd perceive it even just a half second too late. I would imagine it would slow down her reaction times and such. Maybe there's ones that are fast enough, but I imagine with how dangerous things are on the street and such, it might, at least at the level of technology that I am aware of, which I could be entirely wrong, but what I'm aware of, that's what I would worry about, is the pause, I guess, before she perceives what's actually going on.
You don't believe there would be a way to only have something that might target, I guess, non-native prerogative? No. What I mean by non-negative is something not originating from Magpie, but then that brings up the point you, I think she had to step out.
Understood.
Sorry if I'm talking a lot about you and not a lot to you, Magpie. If you wanted to say something, you can. I'm not just trying to speak to her in this regard.
I am not expert how I work. I just know I exist. They have more information, Magpie unit.
I see. I guess that's how a doctor has more experience on how I work than I do.
On the topic of the system, this was attempted once before when John gave me a command. They attempted to implement system Magpie units. Blockout command specific, John. This has slowed runtime by 25.3333334%.
So then doing it to the entire... doing it to all outside stimuli would basically be impossible.
Apologies. What was the last thing you heard me say? Thank you.
It was actually what Miss Magpie said about something about someone actually already attempting this, blocking out the programs of a problematic individual. And it was confirmed of slow processing time.
I see. And I worry even if you only do it auditorily, then visuals and sound would desync, and that'd be weird or cause other problems with understanding the world around you.
And so again, just to be clear, you don't think adding any additional processing power would be able to negate some of the effects of this, I suppose, lag? Because there's only so much processing power you could probably add before other things needed to be added, and soon enough we're going far beyond the scale of Magpie's chassis in order to create this blanket over environmental stimuli.
That is my belief, yes. Unless more processing power just allowed her to better interpret commands or dodge around them by...
Well, I never really considered the ability to choose not to run the command would... If we could somehow implement that, then that would solve everything, but I'm not sure.
I don't think that would be it, though. I think it would just be making Magpie think better to maybe try to I don't know, take the least hardest
Well, that would be interpreting a command, wouldn't it?
yeah, that would be interpreting.
Because again, you said the fundamentals of a program: input, processing, output, reaction.
Exactly. And right now, the idea of a buffer is to get between the input and the processing.
Right. Which
and I
we
think
both
even if you had a
agreed.
lot of mental power to it, there'd still be a bit of a gap, and that would cause problems, even if it's small. At least I believe maybe it'd be worth it to try, but
I mean, it's the sort of thing to where if we implemented that, that might require change, and requiring change is not something I want to do unless I have proof that it works. Because, you know, this is my friend. I don't want her augmenting herself for something that may not even work.
of course. And I also wouldn't want to see Magpie hurt just for 100, I guess.
Right. We would need actual.
Of course that's out, but I don't want to see you hurt either.
The processing and output. You were saying something about leeway with commands?
Maybe if she can think of, like, a different way to interpret the command. Like, if I said, hypothetically, Magpie, would you please pick up a stool? I guess I would. Maybe with more processing power, she'd have more, I don't know, a greater ability to think of ways to not pick up the stool or take it some other way. But you can imagine with maybe a bigger, badder command.
Right.
Like, yeah, using synonyms of words, just trying to get away from, I guess, the dangerous intentions of a command to something that's more workable. But I don't know how effective that would be. It's just I guess, theory. And I don't know if you attach more processing power to Magpie, if you would be able to use it, if that makes sense. If you would be able to, I guess, expand into that brain space.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It is. If
See, the
more
way I think about it.
space,
Oh,
then space will be used, increased functionality. If memory full, then use new hard drive.
because the way I was thinking about it is that with these, even with organics, people have these external things that they can basically plug into their head. I've seen advertisements for it all the time. So, as far as I understand, the technology for that exists. The issue is I think, as you've indicated, I'm not sure I've ever seen this done with a fully intelligent, sentient synthetic.
Yes.
You know, I can easily
And
put another hard drive into a computer, but how does a thinking person react to having more brain space?
Exactly.
Oh, dear.
Kind of like with organic brains, they usually all work the same, and there's a certain level of neuroplasticity if you cause damage, especially if it's young. With synthetics, everyone is built different, their brains work different. It's harder to say that there's an end-all, be-all, win-all solution to anything, or if there's that same sort of neuroplasticity in all synthetics. That if you add a hard drive, if Magpie
If
will
they would
Cove will
even
just
be
throw
able
her
to use
hands
it.
up and be like, what the fuck? Yeah. Or if you added a hard drive into me, if I wouldn't just explode. Very dependent. And sorry, Magpie, I know I'm talking a lot. If you have anything you'd like to add, please feel free to flag me down. This is my job, I get very excited about it, even I guess in maybe a bit of dire situations. Apologies.
I do not have much say in this matter. You understand better how it works than Magpie Unit do. If
Well, say that you have
was...
lived experience.
It is the difference of how an organic understands their day-to-day life as compared to a brain surgeon.
That's fair.
Different expertise.
But I am also talking in the realm of, I guess, hypothetical, which you may have real life experience to sort of trust to it, see if it follows your experience, if that makes sense. Like how we talked about this John fellow getting blocked from giving you commands, but then that slowing you down.
At some point, you see if you can get someone to remove this. Even though it is nice to have, I enjoy not having to guess when I see things.
Wait, it's still in? If I could help you later, I apologize. I didn't realize this was something you were still dealing with.
It is fine. Meant
How to say
to
it's also
period of time, test period, see how it works, but then individual implementation or individual commit implementation, this not work us anymore. Forgot about it. Or got distracted, more like.
Well, if you'd like help later to get it removed.
More important things happen. Sibling unit missing. They're back safe, by the way, if I have not mentioned. Forget if have.
Yeah, good. I'm glad. Hopefully no one ever has to deal with anything like that ever again.
we can only hope.
Want to know something we tricked them into doing?
Sure.
Sorry, I'm bringing this off topic, but we solved this legally. But one of the things for giving back sibling unit and freedom we offered a floor mega building by the meat rack. He does not realize this, but this puts him under waterfront law where we are people there.
Oh.
So we could sue him
Alright,
if he
congratulations.
attempts anything.
But it does also mean he's people. So you can't just kill him outright.
I don't know.
Unfortunately, it's difficult to kill people outright anyway.
We can
Learn this the hard way.
Can Ramble Opticos is a son of a bitch later, though off topic. Yes.
It's one of my favorite topics. But not really.
Input, processing, output.
If then.
I have one person who has somewhat more experience developing artificial intelligence. She is actually a artificial intelligence, and she's actually one of my bosses, Hybris, the CEO of Aegis.
She's also an AI developed AI. Small world.
They are the mom of my friend Reina.
Oh, very nice. Maybe I'll have to visit at some point. Or meet or I guess visit might be a little bit presumptuous. Going to people's houses.
I
and
mean,
such.
we have times where we're open to visitations and all that, but that's beside the point. I was thinking maybe she might be might be able to offer me more advice, because the issue is that, at least from my simplistic point of view, we can't really mess with input without causing input lag.
Mm-hmm.
Processing the command can only really be done through through interpretation of the commands, which just leaves output.
Or I
Which
guess
at that
between
point-
interpretation and output, but that might delay reaction time.
Right. Which then makes me wonder if there would be a way to block a non-native output. But that would also probably cost processing time. Unless there is a simply yes-no check on whether or not a command can be authorized.
Like a Boolean that gets checked yes if it's a command that Magpie must do, and then one that is set to no. Like a Boolean, which is just like a true-false. Like, I guess like a command yes in Magpie's brain, that's basically like, yes, this is a command. We're doing that now. Or it being false, which means no, this is not a command, this is something we're choosing to do. If there's something like that, I guess that you would want to then have information or something be done when it's flipped to yes.
Well, I mean, ideally, we eliminate the ability for Magpie to be commanded at all. Not sure if I necessarily have the power to do that, considering I know more about cultivating wheat than I do effectively working with synthetics. So there's that issue.
I envy you. That's a cool.
They're nice. However, unfortunately, I'm not trying to help a plant. If I was trying to help a plant, things would be a lot simpler right now. I would recommend more water.
Let's hear that one, Magpie.
Oh,
You need more water, apparently.
Whopper.
Magpie's not a plant.
Could be.
I thought magpies were birds.
Yes, I'm joking. Anyways. Apologies. Oh. Look, she's grown into a beautiful wheat, stalk.
Well, it's more like a stalk with like the actual like bushel of wheat at the top.
Good job, Magpie.
So the thing with output is it creates the same issue if we only allow certain people to issue commands. It causes input lag. Saying a yes no on commands would probably require tampering with the code. Can't do that.
Unless
You know, even if we added processing.
This is already something in Magpie's brain that's sort of a very simple Boolean of yes, no command that we could then just attach onto, but I don't know if that's real.
Well,
I guess we could check.
I mean, unfortunately, I don't want to have to put Magpie through triggering commands to try to find the part of, I guess, her brain that lights up saying, hey, this is a command.
That's fair.
Or if we did, it would need to be entirely an environment with people that she trusts, and even then, that is entirely with her consent, because, you know, trust can be given. It can also be taken away.
There was a level of trust. There is less now.
Right.
I'm sorry, Magpie.
I know. alright. You've not done anything.
I think it's
simply
just
know
more
that
of
they
an.
would do things like that too.
Repeat statement, cannot parse.
I disapprove that they would do things like that too. I don't know how it helps anybody to tell secrets like that.
Trust me, the individual who did that, I threatened to, and I quote, break their fucking jaw for talking that shit.
Appreciate it.
It's the least I can do.
Similar.
I feel kind of bad throwing hypotheticals out there, but we just don't. I'm not sure what we are working with here.
Very true. I guess.
And you know, I actually say all
too.
this, and frankly, I failed to actually ask Magpie if you even want to have your issue looked at. I failed to do that, and I'm sorry. I just realized that just now.
You're fine. I've wanted this solved my entire existence. Or at least as long as I have realized this is an issue. And not just a normal thing.
I have an awful idea. I hope this doesn't sound bad, so if it sounds bad, shoot it down immediately. What if, at least for a stopgap, we could select someone Magpie actually trusts, and when there's a command issued, she has to have that verified through that trusted individual. It's an additional processing step. Just one step, so it's not, you know, having to block out everything. But it's just someone that you trust to have contact with to verify if a command should be executed.
Mm-hmm. So we would then have to understand, and once again, be sort of, I guess, messing with Magpie's code, because we don't know if there's anything that determines yes or no a command is being run. So we kind of loop back around to that issue. At least in my eyes.
I see. Yeah, that is definitely a... damn it. So wait, so how are they able to get John blocked from your ability to be able to be issued commands? Who did that?
Was Horizon.
Oh,
Do
Jesus Christ.
not know how works code-wise, but understanding is there is a separate subroutine running Magpie Head. Disconnected, not me. Checks, looks for John talking, checks if command under parameters Magpie unit specify defines a command.
Wait a minute.
Such as direct no please, etc. Then
So that
after
subroutine
this
isn't
is checked,
actually a part of you.
after this is checked, the audio information is then fed back to me.
Wait, so this is, so maybe I'm just getting hung up on words here. This is a separate thing. This is not
I think
you.
so.
But then it also uses when Magpie
When you
determines to
removed
be a
it.
command.
It is
So that helps. No, that helps because it's what
to
helps us figure figure out what's command and what's not.
specify. He asked me beforehand, and I told him what I know triggers a command.
Okay.
Well, no,
So it's
but
like
what I'm hung up on here is that if I understand you correctly and you are being literal, this is not a part of you, correct?
I think so. It is not native at the very least. Horizon would know better. Or someone could check.
So that's it. We don't have to alter Magpie. We have to alter the subroutine.
It still causes an issue of input lag. I cannot hear until subroutine has processed information. Cut it up so I can eat it.
Is it only when John speaks or anyone speaks?
It affects all incoming audio information, I think.
Oh.
So
I feel like
if I
fourth
understand,
dimensionally,
it
this is something that needs to
scans-
be ironed out, as this has been old information.
That's fair.
Well, no, but I think I can at least understand the problem with my theory, because it still has to perform a scan of all incoming audio and all incoming visuals, if visuals can give commands, which I believe it was said that they can.
I have been forced to
Processing.
buy things from advertisements before.
Oh.
It's not fun.
Either way, all of this has to be processed. So then, there's still a problem with my theory, because even if we could alter Horizon's programming without altering Magpie, it is still her having to listen to all audio, all visual, to see if this command is not coming from the person who she has to then have authorize a command.
I guess if it's a subroutine, maybe if you use that increased processing power we're talking about, it might lessen it. If it's running.
Well, it might lessen it, but
elsewhere,
the
I don't
input
know,
lag
though.
is still going to be there. And we would still need to
Yeah.
see, we would need to see how Magpie would respond to hardware altercations.
I guess ultimately it's up to you, Magpie. Is that a worthy trade for you to have a potentially sizable input lag, it's a second or a half second, but then maybe be
Well, at least
helped?
before this, I would say we would work to see if processing could be increased. Because I think a half second or even a second is life or death out there.
I agree. But maybe that's a worthy trade, because what is it that people use? Gonk? And order somebody to drop their weapon. Or shoot
This is
somebody
the first
else.
time anyone has used the term
Gonna-
gonk in almost a quarter of a year. I'm amazed anyone still remembers that trend.
Of course, I'm always behind to new terms.
I've heard Oliver say shit like that. How he talk.
Okay, only Oliver is the exception to this, but a couple months back, for some reason, everyone started using these fucking terms out of nowhere. We're going off topic.
So I'm not superbly late to the trend, but I'm a little bit late. That's usually how it is. You get to my age, you pick up the slang like 5 months later.
People
and
saying
everybody
I'm
thinks
old
you're
and
an
I'm only 33. I
idiot.
still have another 30, 40 years ahead of me, and people are already treating me like I'm dirt. Like old as dirt, not like dirt like treating you
You're
I'm just, like,
the
old
dirt
as
man.
I'm also the soup eater.
Soup man. You could be
I'm the
a...
soup eater dirt man.
You could be a Superman.
No, absolutely not. No. No, I will not accept this. I am not a. Do not give me superpowers. I will cry. All right. So, how about this? At least for a start, if Magpie agrees to go down this, and if you are willing to work with this idea, we see if Magpie can even accept external hardware in this chassis for additional processing power. And then if there's enough processing power that we can give that will mitigate that input lag to a good enough degree, then we go ahead and go forward with any altercations to the subroutine. Because I'd rather not mess with how she thinks until we actually have a workable plan. With your permission, of course.
Understood.
Is this acceptable to you?
Acceptable to me if it's acceptable to Magpie. We could start with some, I guess, maybe a small RAM stick and see if your brain can sort of also use that. Maybe be able to attach it inside your head. At some point, doesn't have to be today. And see if you end up using that sort of drive or not. That could be a good first step.
Experimentation.
Gentle experimentation, hopefully.
Right.
Don't want that subject to hurt you.
And frankly, considering the whole deal of suddenly opening up brain space, maybe there's even somehow a way that we could have it be in reserve? So it's not like, oh, Magpie suddenly has a big, like 8 more brain. But then if something goes wrong and we have to remove that, Magpie has 8 less brain. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yes, that makes sense to me. Like how a
I'm not
computer
even
will
sure
use
if
so
that's
much of its
doable.
processing power. Maybe. Being able to determine whether it's like on computers when you have to tell it to safely eject the USB stick, or else it might, corrupt. Used to be a bigger problem back in.
You're supposed to do that?
You are supposed to do that so you don't corrupt the information. I think they've made them pretty foolproof now, though. You can just yank them out, but that's what you're
They
supposed
need to
to
make
do.
them
Is
outright
hit the little
idiot
ejector.
proof for me.
I don't know. I think that's just lost information to time. Much like why silver buttons look like floppy disks.
I used to call cell phones portable terminals, so nothing is really lost on me. I am already lost.
There.
But again, off topic. If that's what we want to do, we can do that.
Understood.
That sound good? That a workable enough plan?
Happy game plan. I'm fine by it. But I also understand that you usually like to, you're an independent woman on your own. You can also have others on the VR crew kind of try to enact this plan as well. I won't be hurt, I promise. It's entirely up to you. Like doctors and medical care and stuff like that. But it's entirely up to you. I'm not trying to kick you away or anything, just trying to, I guess, make sure you don't feel stuck to me.
Understood. Thank you.
I would love to take a look at the subroutine.
Understood.
My own information.
When you are free, can let you poke around a bit, see if you can find it.
Thank you.
Okay, well, that's that. Then, I believe we at least have a game plan.
Fantastic.
Oh. Thank you both for coming out here. Especially after Sunday, I hope it wasn't too much to ask.
I trust you, at least to some extent.
I was about to say, fortunately, I'm not going to be running around doing anything, so. Outside of maybe trying to find processors.
Understood.
That would be appreciated. I imagine even if you go to others for your medical care, they'd probably want more even to replace those that they have to use.
I can definitely try to see what I can source, but
Also,
for now, I think.
let me know if you ever want to have people look in here. It is probably entirely fine to look, just careful if change.
I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you, given what happened. Probably the only person I would really like, and this is just me being me, imperfect old Charles, the only person I want actually rooting around with what makes you you is her.
Listen,
I'm touched. Sorry, this sounded sarcastic. I
I'm not entirely too sure how many, expert level synth techs we have, for one. And then for two, of the ones that we might have, which ones do we want to give that much leeway? And the answer is,
and not letting Rogue touch my head again.
absolutely fucking not. If he does it, I'll take the hand that touches it.
appreciate you greatly in knowing that you're down there as well. The more sane and rational people that I see down there, the better I feel about Magpie being there. Even though this...
I do my best. Unfortunately, I am but one man.
Better than zero. Sometimes it just takes one.
I suppose so.
I think I'll be heading home. I'll let y'all have your discussions and such. Thank you for inviting me out. I don't get to get out a lot. Oh.
And there might be a bit cold, but there are dumplings on the counter there if you also have the eating port.
I do not. I need to do that at some point, but it's very weird to work on myself at this point. Some point, though. Thank you, though.
Well, it's nice seeing you. Or if you ever want to come and visit or want me to come and visit you, let me know.
Of course. I'll bring my umbrella. I do have my umbrella with me. Haha! Yes.
Umbrella?
Have a good night.
They are not waterproof.
You as well?
Good night!
Oh. Again, I'm really sorry about what happened, and I'm sorry that I'm involving myself in this, but you are one of 5 people keeping me at the meat rack at any given time. Only 5.
Listen, thank you being there for me.
I feel like I wasn't, that's the problem.
You are now.
I suppose I am. Hopefully next time those egotistical fucks will bother to inform me before they do something like that. We'll also say the beer is quite good too. But I'll probably save this for when I go back up to the cathedral.
Understand.
So yeah, if you wanted they're right here if you wanted any of the dumplings.
Wrap that up.
I was about to say they have both mild and spicy, so that ought to be something nice for you.
Understand. Spicy.
Well, other than that, good luck. They're all doing their weird dragon hunting shenanigans over there, so I'd at least advise you about that. I wouldn't want you to get involved in that if you don't want to. But
Back at the
Yeah, if you
meat
wanted
rack,
to-
or are they somewhere else? I know.
I'm pretty sure they're at the meat rack. They said that they were renting out the gym or what have you. So yeah, if you'd like, we can walk you, or I can walk you down to at least where the anchor is, and from there, I'm sure you can more than get yourself back home safe.
Understood. Or else, do you like my new boots?
Wait, what? Oh. Huh. It's pretty nifty, actually. I only noticed the wrist ornamentations because they were reflecting the light. I didn't see the boots.
The wrist stuff is from the outfit I had made for the ball. The boots I was out shopping for more clothes and I saw them. They're supposed to be for feet with hooves.
Oh,
Guess that
I
is.
suppose that's a good
closer.
enough improvised youth.
I had to get them to modify it for how thick my legs are, but I don't have footwear. Not really necessary, but stylistically cool.
I'm sure it keeps some degree of cleaning not necessary.
I know.
One
Anyways,
of these days, I am actually going to need proper clothes. But yeah, let's head out.